Hello, my name is Rob Edwards. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today, if you're looking for my review of Doctor Who Ascension of the Cybermen, you're in the wrong video. I actually did my review of that back on Monday, and I guess I put a card or something up there. You can go and look at that if that's what you want to see. But it taught me a really valuable lesson. I was able to see the episode much earlier in the week and able to get my review out much earlier in the week, and therefore it was for me anyway, a big success for my channel. More views than any other video I've ever recorded, and that is fantastic. So that has taught me the importance of making sure that my videos are timely. And having learned that lesson, I'm now going to review a movie from 3 weeks ago. And the reason being simply, this is when I saw it. We've been busy, we just didn't get to the movies. But I want to talk about, as you can tell by the title down there, I want to talk about Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. And in no small part, that's because I am a huge fan of the Birds of Prey comic books. Specifically, Gail Simone writing and Nicola Scott drawing the Birds of Prey comic book. There have been other iterations which I've, as a loyal reader, have stuck with. They've never really quite sung to me in the way that Gail Simone's did. In fact, just as a sidebar, before I get into the movie review, just talk briefly about the comic books. I always slightly regretted that Nicola Scott's a brilliant artist. I love her work. Sort of a very realistic, clean line style that we get from her. A lot of comic books tend to be kind of scrappy and dark and kind of scratchy, and not my favourite style. And the clean lines for Nicola Scott's drawing, I love. And the writing by Gail Simone is fantastic. But I always slightly regretted that in the comic books, because comic books, Huntress and Black Canary have costumes which are a little more scanty than I would like. It meant, not that I have a particular problem with it, but it just means that it was easy for people to not take the book seriously, I think. I think it was very easy for people to go, oh yeah, these are just pretty women in small amounts of clothes. And that's not what the stories were about at all. The characters in Gail Simone's run were well written, realistic, and didn't play up to that image at all. And I really enjoyed that run of the comic books. One of the most triumphant moments in comic books ever was seeing Barbara Gordon, who was Oracle at the time, after battling Brainiac in her mind, because comic books, woke up and was able to wiggle her toes, because of course Gordon had been put into a wheelchair by the Joker years before and had taken on this Oracle persona as her way to continue fighting crime. I love that run of Birds of Prey. And the Brightest Day version that Gail came back and wrote some more for was also good, but it wasn't quite as good as the first run. So I have a great affection for these characters. I love Canary, I love Huntress, I love Oracle, but sadly she's not in the movie. Oh, the movie. Yes, I should talk about that, shouldn't I? In my review, as ever, I will give you my general overall feeling about this movie, what really worked for me and what didn't quite land. I'm going to start spoiler-free, but I'm only going to talk about that for a little bit because I suspect anybody who's likely to be interested in the movie and my review of it will have seen it by now. So, overall, I actually really enjoyed this movie. I went in feeling a little bit trepidatious. The trailers hadn't really sold me on the movie, and what I'd seen, I didn't really glom onto. I didn't, it wasn't something that would really grab me, and I was nervous that we would get, in name only, Canary and Huntress, and we'd suddenly have the Renee Montoya being part of the team for some reason, and Cassandra Cain being completely unrecognisable in the trailers from the character in the comic books. And the fact that Harley Quinn's in there at all, because historically she's not been associated with the Birds of Prey particularly, apart from in that brief run where the Birds of Prey fought the Secret Six. And she was on the Secret Six side that time. So there were lots of reasons going into this movie that I was a little bit nervous, but I'd liked Margot Robbie in Suicide Squad, and I was so fond of the characters. I needed to see this movie. And what we got in the end was actually a more faithful interpretation of the Birds of Prey characters than I expected. Not right. I mean, Cassandra Cain's unrecognisable from the comic books. But Canary's not bad, actually. She's a little bit more closely associated with the gangs than I think her character is in the comic books. But that just meant she had a reason to be involved in the plot. So that, I don't really have a problem with that. I'm not a huge fan, actually, in the comic books or the movie of making Canary a singer. I think given her superpowers, that is a little bit on the nose. But, at the same time, it gave us a chance to foreshadow her canary cry before she used it later on in the movie. Journey Smollett Bell, I think her name is, actually played a really good Diana Lance. And I thought Mary Elizabeth Winstead playing Huntress, well, the backstory was right. The characterization really wasn't, but I'm going to have to forgive it because I really enjoyed the Huntress character we got on the screen. It wasn't the character from the comic book, but the character we got was really fun. I really enjoyed her. She had some great comedy moments, which is not something I would normally associate with Huntress, but they worked, and they worked in this movie because this movie is a comedy. It's a violent comedy, certainly, and those words immediately start me thinking about the comparisons with Deadpool, and I think they are there. But I really enjoyed. I keep saying that, but I did. This movie and what we got. Was it what I wanted from an exact match of Birds of Prey from the comic books as written by Gail Simone? No, but it was a lot of fun. Now, don't get mistaken here, this is not a Birds of Prey movie, despite its title, its original title. I gather it's been changed in the US to be Harley Quinn Birds of Prey. And that's actually probably more representative of what this movie is, because this is a Harley Quinn movie. Margot Robbie, as I say, best thing in Suicide Squad, continues to be a lot of fun in this movie. And it all revolves around her and her breakup with the Joker, and meaning essentially that she doesn't have the Joker's protection anymore, and now people are out to get her. And there's an ongoing and quite amusing thread during the film about people chasing after Harley Quinn as a result. I think I'm going to talk spoilers now. I've actually rambled far longer than I meant to, but I'm going to talk spoilers now. Just a few little bits, really, just to round things out. So things that I really liked and things which didn't work for me. Let's do the things I didn't like first of all. Cassandra Cain was unrecognisable. The character kind of worked, but I wasn't hugely sold on that actress. She was certainly the weakest of the main cast. And I don't quite get why Renee Montoya was in this movie. I mean, was it just LGBT representation? Because Renee is a gay character. And they haven't done this with Harley and the Poison Ivy thing yet. So maybe that's the only reason she's in there. Maybe to counterbalance the sort of the darker side of being Black Mask and his relationship with Victor Zsasz. Maybe that's why Renee Montoya is in there. Maybe she's in there because they're thinking that further down the line they can do a sort of question thing with her, because in the comics, Montoya, in certainly one continuity, ended up taking on the mantle of the Question from Vic Sage when he died. But those two characters, not only did they not really sell me on those characters, they didn't really sell me on those characters needing to be in the movie. And that for me was a real downside. I would have liked to have had stronger performances and a stronger tie-in to what was going on. Now, it's funny I should say tie-in, of course, because the whole thing revolves around, the B plot revolves around Cassandra Cain and her having managed to successfully pickpocket a valuable diamond from Victor Zsasz. in the worst bit of pickpocketing I've ever seen on television, on screen. And she is central to the plot, but I still think she was a bit of a waste. But those are really the only things which I didn't like about this movie. And they are kind of, if you have no particular attachment to the characters in the comic books, maybe those won't bother you at all. The things I loved, as I said, I loved Canary. I'm not a fan of her singing background, but let her be working in the club where Black Mask is, and to meet Harley and sort of get things going. But everything else about Canary worked. We got martial artists, we got a canary cry, we got a reference to her mother, which I absolutely adored. I thought that was fantastic. That there is a previous Black Canary, I guess, in the DCEU now, which is really interesting, because that certainly implies that in this corner of the DCEU anyway, Superman was not the first superhero in this universe. Huntress was great. As I say, very, very funny. I love this sort of ongoing trying to introduce herself and everyone going, "It's the crossbow. I'm not the crossbow killer." That was a lot of fun. And Margot Robbie as Huntress, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, a lot of fun. All the stuff breaking the fourth wall, all of the kind of ridiculous, over-the-top fight scene stuff. Actually, the fight scenes generally were really well done. But I love the sort of the chase on the roller skates at the end. That was really fun. And I should say, I really adored the performance that Ewan McGregor gives as Black Mask. I thought it really worked. I thought it was great. And just kind of weird and wacky and creepy and dangerous. There is one scene which perhaps takes it a little bit too far, but apart from that one bum note, the performance was fantastic throughout. Zaz was a bit of a non-entity, I guess. I would have liked to have seen more. The creep factor of having a scar for every kill is high, but considering they were giving it an R rating, I don't think they made enough of that. But the face peeling, blech, blech. Very, very horrible, but worked for the character, and I quite like that as well. So all told, I had a fun time with this movie. Was it the movie that I've always dreamed of to get for a Birds of Prey movie? No, it wasn't. It was never going to be that. But it was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be, and I've got to give it points for that. And both me and my wife came out of this movie agreeing that we'd had a lot of fun with it, had a good time with this film. And if you haven't seen it yet, I really think it deserves to do better in the cinemas than it has done. So, I would recommend you go see it. If you like violent comedies about comic book movie characters. I guess I need to, before I finish, I need to talk a little bit about the controversies about this movie. First of all, the haters going, "Oh, this is all about, hating men." And it's not. I mean, okay, there are no kind of likable male characters in this movie, but no one says there has to be, frankly. There were very few likable female characters. I mean, not likable, but sort of heroic and flawless characters. I think, Canary is probably alone in standing up and doing... Canary and possibly Montoya are the only ones who are, I could point to and say they do the right thing throughout. I think everyone else has some pretty dark marks against them. So, is it saying women good, men bad? No, it's not. It's saying everyone's got a bit of darkness in them. And I don't get it. I don't understand it. Yeah, I don't understand it. Ignore that. If you've been swayed by that at all, forget it. It's not about that. That's not what this movie is for. The other thing I did notice, I'd heard rumours, mostly from watching Beyond the Trailers videos on YouTube, that there had been a bit of a rewrite on the main plot line. And having known that going in, it was quite interesting to watch when the sort of main plot was being explained and all the exposition about why Black Mask was after the diamond. It was all done from reaction shots and voiceover. We never actually saw a person talking about why the diamond was so important specifically. And I think that probably means the stories about what was originally on the diamond before the rewrite is probably true. I'm not going to go into that, but I am going to say I'm very glad they rewrote it, because this version works, and I'm not convinced the other one would have done. Anyway, that's it from me. That's me and my ramble about Birds of Prey. I really enjoyed this movie. Go and see it. It deserves to do better than it has done. If it's still in the cinemas where you are, then give it a chance. If it's not, then catch it on streaming when it comes around. I think you'll probably be entertained. So that's it from me. If you want more about me and geek stuff, then check out my 3 days of Geek Week over there. I meant to do 5, didn't quite work out. If you want to find more of my writing there, and subscribe somewhere on the screen. Thanks for watching. Cheers.